Western Expansion in the East, Giving Rise to the Meiji Restoration by Emma Heiser. Japan is a land of vast history, rich customs, where old meets new in the strangest of ways. This nation had once been completely closed off for more than 200 years during the ruling dynasty of the Tokugawa, before being reopened at the behest of American troops. Since then, Japan's development as a country and as a society have made great strides to be on equal footing with some of the largest nations of the globe. Europe of 1852. Themes of legalism and nationalism took the world by storm, causing countries to take sides as wars threatened to erupt both on the home front and abroad. During this time, Victoria was Queen of England. France had established the Second French Empire. Italy had been divided into large papal city-states. Isabella II had a large railway built throughout Spain. Germany saw the end of the First Schleswig War. Austria, Russia, and France were all caught up in a heated argument that would end up leading to the vicious Crimean War. China was in the midst of the Taiping Rebellion against the Qing dynasty. But there was one country that no one had any current information on due to their policy, or sakoku, of national isolation: Japan. Japan had been ruled by the Tokugawa shogunate dynasty since 1603. The Tokugawa name, meaning virtuous river, was adopted by Ieyasu after he assumed power after the Heian period. The family remained in power for over 2 centuries. The emperor of that time, Go-Yotse, appointed the first Tokugawa shogun, Tokugawa Ieyasu. This marked the beginning of the Edo period, characterized by strict social hierarchy, with samurai as the knights and daimyos as the lords and vassals under the shogun. Ieyasu even moved the capital city from Kyoto to his new city Edo, which would later become Tokyo, and declared the country in a state of national isolation. Famous shoguns belonging to the Tokugawa name include Tokugawa Ieyasu, who was the founder; Tokugawa Tsunayoshi, brought up as a scholar instead of a warrior; Tokugawa Ieyasu became shogun at age 3, married a princess by age 5, she was only 1, and died at the age of 7. Tokugawa Yoshimune, a member of a lesser branch of the Tokugawa family, who fought through personal and domestic tragedy to stabilize not only his province, but all of Edo after assuming the title of shogun. Tokugawa Ieyasu, the first shogun to retire at age 48. Tokugawa Inari, the longest-serving Tokugawa shogun of 50 years. During his rule, the Great Fire of Kyoto raged for nearly a week before being extinguished by heavy rain. Tokugawa Ieyasu, the shogun who lifted the Sakoku decree at the behest of Commodore Perry, and died shortly thereafter. Tokugawa Iemochi, the first shogun to visit the previous capital of Kyoto in 230 years. He married Princess Kazunomiya. Tokugawa Yoshimbu, the one-year shogun, and the only Tokugawa shogun to spend all of his reign outside of Edo. The Edo period and culture has greatly influenced art and media throughout the years, the most famous of them being this wave up here, known as the Great Wave off of Kanagawa. Other things it inspired was the art of ukiyo-e, or woodblock prints. They depicted scenes of everyday life. They also inspired books and movies, including Memoirs of a Geisha, The Tale of Princess Kaguya, Harakiri, The Life of Oharu, The Twilight Samurai, Ghost in the Shell, 13 Assassins, Blade of the Immortal, and The Hidden Fortress. July of 1853. The decree of national isolation was shattered as feudalist Japan was met by a fleet of American warships anchoring in Tokyo Bay. Led by Commodore Matthew Perry, they demanded the shogunate reopen its borders. Under-equipped and outgunned, the Japanese agreed to their demands. In 1854, after nearly a year of negotiations, the shogunate signed the Treaty of Kanagawa, which was the first treaty with a western nation. It opened the ports of Hakodate and Shimoda, ending their 220 years of isolation, and allowed the U.S. ships to resupply at their ports, and established the first U.S. consulate in Japan. In 1868, a coup took place that completely shifted the balance of power and altered the Japanese mindset. Emperor Matsuhito was reinstated and became Japan's 122nd emperor by order of succession. He took the name Meiji, meaning enlightened rule, Hence the time period became known as the Meiji Restoration. His wife, Masako, became Empress Consort Haruko, later given the name Shokin, meaning bright and virtuous. She is warmly remembered for her charity work during the Sino-Japanese War. She bore no children, but she was a gentle and devoted wife, both to her husband and to their empire. Today one may visit Meiji Jinju, the shrine dedicated to the both of them, deep in the heart of Harajuku. The Meiji Restoration brought forth a lot of changes to Japan. With the border now open, Japan was forced to play catch-up with the Europeans and begin trade with the West. Automobiles were introduced. Clothing styles changed as more people adopted the long dresses from the West instead of the traditional kimono. Imported shipping brought items like hats, pocket watches, parasols, newspapers, and magazines. Sports like baseball, telephones, and even bicycles. The military was also heavily reconstructed and moved from the samurai in the Bushido Code to modernization with the arrival of new weapons like guns and cannons. The Meiji era brought much needed change and reform to Japan. Westernization was quickly adopted in and outside the home, as curious Japanese couldn't get enough of Western clothes, ideas, and technology. However, while it was a necessary part of the country's growth and development, there were some negative aspects as well. With the feudal system mostly abolished, the samurai became a thing of the past, pushing many brave warriors out of a job with the rise of the new national military. With rapid urbanization, high taxes were issued, causing the farmers to seek out higher paying jobs in the cities, leading to food shortages. The Meiji government exercised considerable control over the media, education, and other aspects of society in order to promote their racial ideology. The Meiji era shifted and shaped Japan into the brilliant and modern country it is today. Although much of the domineering control and propaganda disappeared after World War II, Japan still holds many of the things brought over and has expanded technologies and resources to trade with other much larger countries. The emperor and his family are no longer in ultimate power, but are beloved public figures. The national army has grown and constantly trains to be ready for an attack from China or North Korea. Western clothing has given rise to new styles such as Lolita and Harajuku street fashion. The Meiji era has also inspired many books, movies, and animated TV series. A few notable ones include The Last Samurai, Shinsengumi, Ronin Kenshin, Benibara no Otome Yuta, and Meiji Tokyo Renka.